The Psyche, page 2. Spirit and Material Consciousness. The human being of Earth has adopted the unpleasant habit of using false word concepts for things and matters which he or she does not understand or only partially understands. This is also true for the spirit and for the material consciousness, in which case the latter also represents the actual personality of a human being. In this false use of false terms, it also occurs that the human being speaks, e.g. of, quote, spiritual nourishment, as well as of, quote, spiritual property, as also of, quote, spirit illness, quote, spiritual delusion, quote, spiritual derangement, quote, spiritual disturbance, quote, spiritual inadequacy, or, quote, spiritually lacking, and so on and so forth. Truthfully, however, none of these terms apply to the spirit, because it can neither be sick nor confused, nor disturbed, deranged, or faulty in any way. It also can never be inadequate. Neither can one state that it receives a form of nourishment from the human being when this person is thinking, philosophizing, and learning, etc. Also, neither can a spiritual property ever be talked about if a human being composes written words or notes, makes drawings or inventions, etc., because the spirit itself neither brings forth spiritual property in this manner, nor can it be fed by the thinking, learning, and philosophizing, etc., of the material consciousness. All this can solely and exclusively be attributed only to the material consciousness. So therefore the material consciousness becomes spoken of, which can, through various other circumstances and occurrences, etc., be able to become ill and feeble-minded, deranged, confused, disturbed, or inadequate, etc. The spirit itself is a minute part piece of the creation, which in no form can be disturbed or somehow negatively affected by the material realm. The spirit can also not be nourished from out of the material realm, and thus it can also not be of help in providing any, quote, spiritual property to the material realm. The material consciousness realm, the material consciousness itself, can indeed become disturbed, contrary to the invulnerable and untouchable spirit, which represents a purely creational product in its form and power as well as in its swinging wave, etc. It is also possible that from the material consciousness realm, properties belonging to a certain human being can be created, as e.g., drawings, notes, writings, and inventions, etc. But also, as mentioned already, the material consciousness can suffer harm and illnesses, and even delusion and feeble-mindedness, because this material consciousness is also actually something that is of a purely material nature. The material consciousness is not only a consciousness form as such, because truthfully, it also embodies the personality. It is also this personality that is able to create all things, e.g., drawings, inventions, notes, and books, and so on and so forth. Thus, it should be clear and comprehensible that the personality, i.e., the material consciousness, alone can be creative, as well as susceptible to illness and other health difficulties, but also megalomania and haughtiness, and all other negative as well as positive things are founded therein, because through the personality, i.e., the material consciousness, all thoughts and feelings, all emotions, as well as all electromagnetic powers and swinging waves, etc., are created, which distinguish and direct the life form concerned, Thus, in this case, the human being in particular is spoken of. According to the explanations given, it is absolutely clear that no illness or other terrible things exist which the spirit could be subject to. Namely, as a creational part piece, it is taboo to everything worldly, and cannot be harmed or injured by any disturbances or influences. Harm and injury, or any otherwise damaging influence, can only occur to material organs, etc., yet never to the spirit, because it is absolutely untouchable and uninfluenceable by any material or half-material concerns and factors. Solely and exclusively, the material consciousness, the personality, is susceptible to material and half-material influences. Consequently, among many other things, only the following exist, which always and in every case refer to the material consciousness, e.g., consciousness illness, disturbance, confusion, derangement, injury, inadequacy, consciousness nourishment, poverty, possession, personality possession, consciousness loss, consciousness direction, consciousness attitude.